Character of the Week. Today's Character of the Week is Milestone's Comics Icon. He was an alien that crash landed on Earth in the 1800s and took the form of the nearest person near him, which was a slave woman. So then he became a black man. Similar origins to Superman. Like most origin stories, as he grew up, he developed his powers. Then he started using his powers to help his fellow slaves, lighten the workload. He also was a very integral part of the Underground Railroad. Okay, why didn't he just use his powers to beat the shit out of white people? So once he was free, he took the adopted last name Freeman. So he became Augustus Freeman as his Earth name. His alien name was Arnis. Even though he looked like a black man, by being of alien descent, part of his physiology means he ages slower. So pretty much he had to wait for the rest of the world to catch up with the technology from his home world, and that's the only way he could rebuild his spaceship. Being practically immortal, that means that in order for him to pass the time while being alive, he basically became each of his next generation's son. He would take the name Junior, then Third, then Fourth, and currently right now he's the fourth, a great-great-grandchild of the original Augustus Freeman. Now, in the comics, a group of teenagers broke into Augustus Freeman the Fourth, which is still him, his house to basically try to rob him or steal stuff from him, and he confronted them. One of the teenagers came back and thought of him and gave him the name Icon, so he could be a symbol of hope for people like him. And he decided to be a superhero, and he adopted her as a sidekick. So her name was Rocket. So that's how the team duo of Icon and Rocket came to be. Originally, Milestone's comics, they wanted to give him the name Paragon, but they were going through too many legalities and stuff like that just to get the right to use that name, so they just chose the name Icon instead. Well, Milestone Comics in general but this particular one was a creation of the late great Dwayne McDuffie, who also is very intricate in working with DC Comics, Warner Brothers, who also produced such wrote cartoons for Static Shock. So by him being involved in Warner Brothers and all the intellectual properties of the characters in the Milestone universe, that's how some of the Milestone comics were able to be integrated into DC Comics. There was an event called Worlds Collide, which is when, basically in the mid-90s, the DC Comics and the Dakotaverse, which is the Milestone universe, they had a collision, and Superman and Icon both fought. But it wasn't the fight that made it such a decent comic. It's the similarities between the two. However, the differences is of being the color of skin, which is how Superman was almost in the comics accepted, was greeted properly, as opposed to Augustus or Icon, where he was enslaved and fought for freedom. So thanks to the New 52 comics, the Codaverse and DC are now combined, which is why you actually saw him in Young Justice, which was the first time you saw him on television, which was really great. But there's still some legality issues as far as Milestone making a comeback. But for the most part, Icon is basically a slave who fought for freedom, fought through the Civil War, was around for pretty much every aspect of history, of African American history, and was a part of that, an integral part of that in the comics. And now he is integral part of the present day comics for them now. So he truly lives up to his name. He is an icon.